The goal of the show is to help you break in and thrive in advertising. And we do that every single week by sharing the stories and advice of those rocking it on the other side. We also post advertising news you need to know in 60 seconds or less on our LinkedIn. Go follow us there. Turn on post notifications for news unlike anything else you've ever seen before. This episode, you're going to see us sit down with Micky Ogando, who's the CCO and founder of Bakery. It's an ad agency based in Austin, Texas. He's been doing this since he was 27 years old. He started Bakery at a young age, and he's been doing it now for a good amount of time. And they're growing different extensions within the agency. What I love about Micky is his approach to thought leadership, in air quotes here. He came in and wanted to do a Mount Rushmore of advertising professionals that he admires today, modern professionals. So we do that segment. And we also just give love to other independent agencies because Bakery, proudly independent stuff. And he has no plans of acquisition, which is what I love. And his mindset of just constantly learning and admitting when you don't know stuff is so helpful for anybody in advertising, especially you early advertising professionals. You're going to want to connect with Micky. You're going to want to connect with us. Please do so. Now on with the show. This is the Breaking and Entering Advertising Podcast. And as usual, I'm your accomplice, Gino Schellenberger. Kick it, Mikey. Micky Ogando, welcome to the Breaking and Entering Advertising Podcast. How the heck are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing all right, man. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah.
In New York.
In New York, you have not been home.
No, not since Cannes. I'm still running that trip a little longer here, visiting some clients and stuff, and then going back home finally.
Which home, for those that don't know, is Austin. This
Texas.
Is correct.
That is right. Yeah.
So you've been running Bakery. You've been you were the founder. You're the CCO of Bakery, which is an ad agency located in Austin. You've been doing that since 26, 27 years old.
27. Yeah. Started it when I was 27. Yeah, right there, Austin, Texas. Yeah, I don't even know what the hell I was doing. I mean, still don't, but definitely didn't know what I was doing then. Yeah.
We need to unpack that. So was that like your first agency job?
No. I mean, I've been, I've been kind of like around this agency thing almost my whole life.
Yeah.
My parents met when they were working in the Dominican Republic. They were working in YNR,
okay.
the local branch of YNR down there called Damaris at the time. Mm-hmm. And they met there. And so it was like, I was growing up around like all these like Graphis books and like all this stuff, like in my house, there was always like advertising around me. And then from there, I did go to school for it, but I dropped out because I got a job while I was at school and I was working at BBDO, again, DR. So still local branches and stuff like that. Worked at BBDO, worked at YNR. And then a couple of small shops over there, and then moved to the States.
Okay. And your parents, they're both in it. Is it like an art director, copywriter combo, or is it like that would be the dream, right?
No, my dad was a creative. My mom was on the strategy side. So
that's a good combo too. As long as there's no accountant there.
There is no account person in the family.
Yeah,
no.
We don't want.
Yeah,
that.
no,
it's not. Yeah, well, you kind of have to be, being the founder of an agency. Like
you have to be an account person. Yes, you have to be all of the roles. I think as a founder of an agency today, I honestly have no idea how some of these guys that like have really famous agencies and stuff like that have such amazing heads of hair and stuff, that I see. I'm just like, how would you manage to keep that through the process of growing this thing?
But you had a great head of hair at 27.
At one point, I had
you were crushing it.
Yeah, I had a pretty great head of hair, and then it just like, it decided. Yeah, it's.
If you could talk to the 27-year-old Micky right now, about to start Bakery, what would you say? Would you say go all in or, turn the other way?
That's a pretty heavy existential question. I don't know if I'm
right now when you're tired from Cannes and you haven't been home, you've been flying all over.
I mean, there's definitely days where I might tell that 27-year-old, like, you don't know what you're doing. Do not get into that. That's a whole other thing. And then there's like many other days where I'm like, no, this is it. Like, I don't know what else I would do. And to be honest, like, even through the tough times of moving an indie agency forward, like, it can be so rewarding. Like, the highs are so high that it's just like, man, kind of screw the low points a little bit, so I think it nets out positive, for sure. But I've always told everybody this. I've come to know this is just not for everybody. Right? Like, this, you got to have a combination of trauma healing that you need to do with, like, some masochism and some like other pieces there, and like definitely like chip on your shoulder, parent issues that you need to prove that you're worthy, things. There's just a lot of stuff there that, like, I feel like this is a good way to exercise those demons and make it work. But for the average sane, balanced person, don't start an agency.
I would feel this. We kind of have a similar entrepreneurial spirit. We're like going all in, breaking, entering at 27 years old now. Like, so that's why I kind of brought up that question, like starting a media company today, a minute for the long run. So I just wanted to get some wisdom from you there.
Well, you guys are way ahead of where I was when I started. You guys are killing it. Like, I mean, you're already everywhere. Like, everyone knows you guys. My first 3 years were like, running in quicksand, trying to figure a lot of things out. No one knew who we were, doing a lot of local work, things like that, thinking at 27, like, oh, I'm just going to put a name on the door. And then, if you build it, they will come, that type of mentality. They will not come, man.
You got to find them.
If you build it, they will not, they don't know who you are. They don't know what number to call. So, yeah.
So then how did you land on the name Bakery? And then what was the first big moment where you're like, holy shit, we have something here. This might just work?
I don't think there was a holy shit moment until, honestly, many years later. I think there was a lot of little moments of feeling like, okay, I won that battle and I won that little battle, and that tells me that I can go on and win the next one, which I think is more important to people in this that are going after this type of journey. Is like, don't believe any of the old cliches of like, oh, you're going to have that moment, or, I always heard like, once you get that first client, the other ones are easier. Not true. Like, it's all a battle, really. It never really stops. Or even like those things when they tell you like, you just got to like work it until it's sort of like manages itself. I don't know if you've ever heard this, but I used to hear this a long time ago, and I'm like, the more successful, if you want to call it successful, the more success we find, the more work we have to put in, like the more hours you have to put in. It's like there is no sort of like hand it off like and then passive, go to like and then go play golf, in the afternoons or something like that. I haven't found that to be the case. So so really, it was those little moments, I think, that kept me going until I would say we started to get bigger AOR wins and like string them together. Is that moment where you're like, okay, we might have something here that we can expand beyond this world. And I think you asked also about the name. The name's I think another example of the ethos that got us here, which, if you want to call it that, it wasn't the original name of the company.
Okay.
So when I first got together with 3 friends and we decided, hey, we're going to do this, the name of the agency was Code and Hue.
Code and Hue.
Code and Hue. At the time, it was 2009 going into 2010 when we were talking about this. It was like everything was digital agencies and all, and that was the way you needed to be to break through, which is at the end of the day not exactly what I wanted to do, but I thought, okay, this is a good sort of path, to get going. And but I had just read some books and had this thing in my mind of like, build a cult, build a religion, not a company, that kind of thing. And so I was like, you need a temple to build a religion. And so I was like, well, we need like an office space. Like we need a space, which sounds crazy now, of course, like post-pandemic to even talk about like that, where you have agencies that have no offices at all. But back then it was like, yeah, we need to be taken serious. We need to be able to, if we're going to bring talent in, we need a space to work out of. And the only place we could afford that we found was this old retail spot that was an old cupcake bakery, and it had gone out of business. And there was a sign on the door that had been ripped off. And when we got there, the only thing you could see is like the old glue of when they ripped off the name of the business that was there. But the only thing remaining on the bottom was the descriptor of the business. So I never actually knew the name of the cupcake bakery. I just saw bakery and written in tiny letters on the bottom. And I am a little bit of a, like, I'm not superstitious, but I'm a little stitious kind of vibe, And so it's sort of like, I was like, okay.
Semi-stitious, yeah.
Semi-stitious. And I just like that day I was like, guys, this needs to be, I think this needs to be the name of the place, bakery. And
Cool
and it just, we changed it. We changed the LLC. And I guess the rest is history. Of course, initially it was called The Bakery Interactive, which was a very long URL.
Yeah, that makes sense. At that time, you need interactive, that digital. Yeah.
Exactly.
And then you stripped it down just to.
Yeah, then we did the Justin Timberlake, dropped the interactive, did that thing, and then it was like, okay, bakery. I also dropped, not to sound nasty because it wasn't nasty, but I also dropped those initial co-founders, down the road.
Yeah.
They definitely had some ideas about that digital side of things that I just never shared, honestly, from the beginning. I was more of a creative.
Yeah.
And then, most of them went off to do really great things. Some of them do have like digital agencies that have done really well, and all of that. And so it was just like, I feel like creative is where, the future is for us. And I think all of us were right, in the way we decided.
You got to be true to yourself. Like if that's what their calling was, digital, go do that. I got to do this thing. All is good there. And we wish them success. Like, that's great. But you've remained independent this whole time. This is correct.
Independent.
Thoughts about selling, like how do some offers I'm sure came up. Like, how do you say no to those? Is it just not wanting to have a boss? Because I kind of feel that way too. Like we have a couple little acquisition proposals out, already. So
already,
yeah,
oh,
yeah. I don't know if I could say that, but Jack and I are talking about, like, do we want to have bosses? Like, I don't know.
I mean, yes, that does come into play.
Yeah.
The whole having a boss thing. I'm not against having a boss, right? I mean, I have a whole bunch of people that right now I ask them to be cool with me being a boss. So it's like, it would be weird if I'd be like, oh, bosses in general suck. That'd be kind of a weird vibe for me to, but I think, I got into this because I struggled to find a boss a lot of times that I felt, we aligned with. Now, keep in mind, that was 27 and earlier, right? So I even today, I'm not a fully developed human being in any way, shape, or form, but I absolutely wasn't then. And so, could I find people right now that I'm like, yeah, I would work for that person any day, 100%. And I've met so many of them. So that is a consideration, but it's not as big of a consideration as you think. Honestly, it's more of watching what the networks have kind of become. They've always been a little bit of like these slash and burn entities when they purchase things. But it's crazy how, like, even names that we've grown up knowing within the agency world are just like being swallowed up and mixed up and whatever. So how would I expect bakery to survive something like that? How would I expect the culture and the sort of ways of working that we've developed to survive that? I don't know. And then the thing is, if I sell, I sign myself onto that deal for a good amount of time for a lot of, like, let's call them, my good years, so do I want to put those into something I don't believe in anymore, right? And so I think that's where it comes into play. Also, we've had, especially the last 5 years, we've had some good enough success that I'm not in search of a paycheck, or anything like that. Like, money's not the main concern.
Sure.
So happiness in other ways is the main concern, and feeling good about the job every day and the people that you work with.
And I like how you brought up this point about like the bosses. There's people in the ad industry that you respect and you admire. I think it's a perfect segue into our next segment, which is Mount Rushmore of ad people today that you respect, you admire, that you might want to work with one day or you want to get to know. So Mount Rushmore, I think it's got 4 people on it, right, Ellie? There's 4 presidents in the real one.
I think so.
I think that I've never seen it. I heard.
I haven't. I've heard it's smaller. Right?
Yeah.
You think it is.
It's South Dakota, North Dakota, South Dakota, North Dakota. Thank you, Ellie.
It's the opposite of. It's the opposite of the Last Supper, which you think is like a small painting somewhere, and it's a massive mural when you actually go to Milan and see it.
I did not know
It's
that.
a massive like mural inside of a whole room. Oh,
it's South Dakota.
There you go. So this is the opposite. This is like smaller than you think.
Yeah, and the other one is like Washington crossing the Delaware. That thing is huge.
Oh, is it? I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, it's at the Met.
There you go.
I saw that. It's like the whole wall. It's awesome. Anyways, so who is on your Mount Rushmore of ad people today? Let's say alive.
Alive, yeah.
They could be retired, whatever. Yeah. They could be working, but they have to be alive. Who are you putting on it?
So, people that I would probably work with. I think she's called herself kind of retired from advertising, but I'm hoping not.
I know who this is.
Kristen Cavallo.
Yeah.
I would probably work with Kristen any day. I know her. Mm-hmm. She's a mentor, honestly. She's become a mentor, and still one of the kindest human beings with her time for someone she didn't know, that just reached out and said, hey, I have questions about this thing. I don't know what I'm doing. And, she's awesome, man. In a sense of wow, I wish I was that leader a lot of times, just seeing her do her thing. And so, yeah, if she were hey, I want to come back in advertising, I want to do this, I want to do that, I'd be like, what can I do?
How can we help? Yeah.
So she's definitely on there.
She really took Martin at a time where they needed some leadership, stepped in there and made them just so powerful and a force to be reckoned with. It's just the clarity and the fighting invisibility that statement that she championed, just really took it to new levels. And I think she's working at a museum now.
Yeah.
In Richmond, and we want to get her on the show. So, Kristen, if you're watching this, please come on.
I would say, let's see.
So you got Casey up there.
Yeah. So I would say I would put some obvious names probably, but I respect the work. I respect the work coming out of what they're doing. Definitely would gotta include Anselmo on there.
Nice.
And I don't know him. So yeah, Anselmo, what's up, man?
He's cool. He's cool.
Yeah. Hit me up, man. I'm okay. I'm not as cool as you, but I'm okay. We can hang out.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah. That's a guy that again, immigrant, I would love to get to know, because there's just aspects of that journey that I'm sure he knows that I would just love that perspective on it.
Yeah.
And then I respect the work so much and what he's been able to build, I would say 3 times over now.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's going from David, now going to Gut, now Gut Globant, which is you would. Some would think they would take their foot off the gas and it's just it feels the opposite, right? And it's just full respect, honestly, for that.
That acquisition, I forget. it's not top of mind that they're acquired by Globant. Like they're still opening up, they're popping up offices all over left and right. It's still still on Salmo.
They just announced Hawaiiana's AOR.
That's the flip flop.
Yeah.
Right?
I can't wait to see what they do with that. It's just like great territory for the kind of work they do. I'm excited to see what they're able to do with it. But yeah, you got to have him in there. You got to have, I would say, I'm probably going to butcher her name, but the other person I got to put on there would be out of Mischief. It would be Bianca Guimaraes out of Mischief.
Good call.
Somebody who again, I don't know her, but I would like everything I've heard about her and everything I've seen from her work, and every time I've seen her speak and every time I've seen her, it's just somebody that I'm like, whoa, like this is somebody that I would love to just be in a room with, and have a conversation with, and then what we say in Spanish, pelotear, which means like in English is not a real word, but it's almost like ping pong ideas back and forth. It's like,
how do you say it?
Pelotear. Pelota is ball, so pelotear is like balling around, a little bit. So it's like the way that you kind of identify like game recognizes game in Latin America is like there's a way of talking. Here, like Americans talk a lot about what is it? The whole like comedian thing, the yes and the improv, right? Yeah. So you guys talk a lot about improv. Like I think we just speak in improv like as soon as we're born in Latin America, and so for us it's just like pelotear is just like you kind of are able to like immediately in a conversation know if like this person's a good creative or not. Because, and like I just feel like that's a person I would love to sit down and have a conversation with.
So you got Kristen Cavallo, Anselmo Ramos, Bianca Guimaraes, Bianca G, and then you got one more slot here for your modern day Mount Rushmore of ad people. Who are you going to fill in this last slot? Very important here.
That is, so tough, man, because this could be like 20 people easily.
Yeah. This is a game.
Oh, I would have to say you can't have like this with just ad people, like, because we're kind of one half of the coin.
You're gonna put a CMO on there?
I'm gonna put a CMO on.
You can't put a CMO on.
What are you talking about?
Is that allowed? Is that allowed? It's an ad
person.
Yeah, okay.
No, I gotta put the man Fernando Machado.
I was just writing that.
No, of course you got to put him on there. He's and I do know Fernando, and he's like the real deal in every possible way. I think like a guy that is the funny part is like I don't think you have to be a genius to understand how to make good marketing. And I think you'd be the first to say like this is actually fairly simple and we get in our way so often. And so but he's like perfected the way to not get in your way.
Yes.
Which is, it's kind of an impressive thing to see and to hear when he speaks about it. It's just somebody that very clearly explains things that I try to explain to my clients regularly, and I get tongue-tied and I'm like so stuck in the bullshit of it. And then you hear him say it and you're like, that's it. Yep. I just didn't know how to speak whatever that language was, and you translated it. And so yeah, you have,
that's a good list.
I think it's a pretty decent list.
It's a good list. And Fern and Anselmo obviously have worked together for so long. Like those two are like dynamic duo there. Yeah. So I found that very interesting as well. But yeah, the CMO role is, there's obviously to our listeners, it's not easy. There's like, price and stuff. There's like supply chain stuff that you have to worry about. You got a CEO that's yelling at you for revenue. So it's not an easy position. It seems like Fern has like been able to unlock that. And I feel like they're hiring him now wherever he goes because they know it's going to be a creative effectiveness or creative.
Absolutely.
Creative work.
Yeah. And that's the thing, in general, when you're seeing right now brands, which brand as a whole is ready to operate at a certain level based on who they're hiring as sort of the top of the marketing chain there.
If you look at like Brian Nichols and Tressie Lieberman at Starbucks, like they hired them for a reason. Like they're there for a reason. They're going to bring in their agency partners. They like their way of doing it. They're at a pivotal time for that brand. They're on a mission.
Yeah.
And they're the right people for that mission.
Exactly. And it's exciting because I think a lot of people are talking about right now this sort of coming back to creativity from this era of hyper measurement that we were just in, that everyone kind of finally realized how much bullshit is behind
I slept
it.
through that time. Yeah.
I'm glad you're just like coming out at this moment, because it was a little rough the last 15 years. Yeah. But I'm glad that like creativity is kind of coming back in.
Yeah.
But what you're seeing is the people that are like getting into like these roles of marketing power within these major brands. That's who's actually driving this, right? It's not that agencies were not creative for 15 years, or that this or that. No, it's that the people that are the buyers for whatever it is that you can serve as an agency, those buyers are looking for that creativity right now. And that's why I had to put a CMO in there, because I think right now, especially more than in the last 20 years, the CMO and the VPs you have under them they're more important than even the agency, to be honest with you. Like, you could probably have a CMO and a mediocre agency, a CMO like Fair, and he probably is going to get gold out of him.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah.
I agree with that. I think that these are all great takes here, and I think that's a great Mount Rushmore. Any honorable mentions that you didn't make the list that we want to go over? Or next, we can get in the next segment here, which is which indie agencies are crushing today?
Oh, man. Real easy call out right now for Quality Meats.
Love those dudes.
They just picked up a Grand Prix and a gold in Cannes, and I don't think they break 25 people in terms of staff. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm not as much of a student. I mean, I try to be, but I'm not as much of a student as a Ferrer and Selma on Cannes. But I don't know if that's some kind of record for an agency picking up a Grand Prix. I mean, like, in terms of like their size and things like that. Like, you have to understand, like, for an agency like mine, we are 3 times that size, you know, almost 4 times that size, and we're still fighting to get our first lion, like, you know, and these guys are like cleaning house and doing so with incredibly good work. Like, I was telling Gordy and Brian, and I was texting them from Cannes. Yeah, they didn't go to the festival because they felt, I think, I have to imagine, right? I'm putting words in their own mouth. Of course, they didn't say so, but they submitted the work, but they didn't feel like we're going to beat the Goliaths, you know? And they did. And they weren't there to pick up a Grand Prix, which is crazy to me. Dang. But that tells you also, like, that, yeah, man, don't give up on that. And like, it energizes us so much, you know, because we're like, dude, hell yeah, man. Like we're ready for next year. Let's go do it. So yeah, you got to call them out.
When an independent agency wins, like, it seems like your mindset is like, you all win. Like, it helps, like,
it really does feel that way.
It inspires you guys, that your client, you can go to your clients and be like, look at what they did, we can do this, we can do something similar to this, like, let's push it. Yeah.
There's a hell of an environment with the indie agencies. I think
and Zanger does, like, I feel like he does my bad. I feel like Zanger does a good job of championing that and like trying to round people in there.
Yeah. Talk about frenetic energy. Doug is
Uncle Advertising.
Yeah. But also, you know, I think Ad Age has done a great job with the Small Agency Awards and the conference, and I think Ad Week has also caught up to that pretty well. Campaign is also working really well. I think these other, like, groups are huddling us and not in a forced way, right? And not so it has created this community that is very real. It feels very real, like, not forced at all. And to me, I was just telling a couple of folks this morning. We were talking about literally this, like, what was Cannes like as an indie, you know, and I was saying, like, there were these moments that they're not celebrated. There's not an award for it, but, like, for example, seeing Preacher at Cannes, as well as us, like, seeing the founders and everybody there, but also seeing them with Gia, their new managing partner for Amsterdam, that they were kind of there hanging out with her. And it just tells you, like, this is an indie from Austin, like I am. Right. We're all there. they're celebrating their new Amsterdam office, you know, and it's just like there's an energy going around that I think is infectious, and it tells us, hey, we're on the right path, and we don't have to kill each other to get there. There's more than enough work for all of us to go around, and the more we worked together and for each other, the better it's going to be, because we are so far from even like touching the P&Ls of the holding groups that it's like, dude, don't even worry about like competing against each other. There's no need for it, right?
No, everybody can do really great work. There's enough brands out there that need creative work out there for everybody to be successful. I think that's a really cool approach. And like just from this episode, like I'm talking about people that inspire you and like listing out like, you know, quote unquote competitors, which are not really competitors, right? Like we just went over, it just speaks volumes to you and your ability to want to learn and be better as an agency founder. I think that's awesome, man.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I try to tell people as much as I can that this thing is not about being the person that knows the most, especially in today's world. Anybody that walks into a room says like, I know the answer to all this stuff. To me, I've always told people like that's my first sign that who's the idiot in the room, you know, because if you actually know everything in that moment, that's the instant you started to become irrelevant, because there's information happening and things changing at a per second or per millisecond, you know, moment. So you have to be the person in the room that can figure it out. Like be that person, have that energy of like be the person that can figure it out. That's what you walked into the room to do. And not to know it, and be able to say like, oh, I don't know that, but give me 2 hours, you know, and let me figure it out. I have found that to be the most valuable asset you can have to anybody right now, and including our clients and everybody else. And I think it's a quality that we've pushed into everybody at Bakery, that and they've adopted it in an incredible way, you know. So if, by the way, you asked if there was other people there, I probably would follow that up with like just Bakery people like under it, because I love our folks. So
yeah, I love that. That's probably one of the best pieces of advice that you said right there for our audience, who skews you a little bit younger, like as they're getting into the industry. You know, you don't have to have all the answers. You're not going to have all the answers, but you should be the person that works hard to figure them out. Yeah, and like, you know, roll up your sleeves and, you know, try. Yeah. I freaking love that, you know. And I don't know, maybe it's different in my position where we've had people like give us ideas like, you should do this thing, or you should buy this piece of furniture, or assemble this thing, or whatever, or, you know, these mics, or, you know, here's an idea for this segment on this show. And then I'll follow up with like, okay, how do we do that? And then they won't know. And then the conversation dies. It's like, I want somebody to be like, okay, here's like the project plan. Here's how you can get this thing started. Here's how you can create an award show that is actually interesting. Like, give me the next step as well. And that's what I look for.
Yeah. Look, I think one of the things that surprised me a ton, right, is coming over as a Dominican to the States, and then over time, finding myself in rooms and meeting rooms with people that are supposed to be, you know, heading up major brands, global brands that we all grew up with, no matter what country you're from, right? Yeah. And then noticing at an early age of like, you know, 25, 26, 27, like looking around like, dude, am I so like dumb that I don't understand what that person is saying? Or is that person just stupid? Like, seriously, like, wait, it can't be. It just can't be that person has that job and just said the thing that they just said. Those two things just didn't compute for me initially. You would be surprised the amount of people that are faking everything, man, like through and through. And now, of course, like, many more years into this thing, it's like, you know, for me, it's just kind of like, you know, like you now know it, you know it, you're not doubting yourself, but you're just like, oh boy, you know. And so for young people, it's like, man, just like go for it. You know what I mean? Like, just don't worry about it. Go for it. Don't fake it. Like, just be honest about like, I don't know how to do that, but give me 2 damn seconds and I will figure it out for you. Be that person. And I think there's no limit to how far you can go in this thing. And like a lot of that, the thing I hear about is this imposter syndrome thing and all of that. And it's just like, man, once you realize that almost all those people that you're like, oh man, I wish I was that person, they're probably faking half the shit they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the imposter syndrome at that point starts to melt away a little bit. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, then what is next for you all at Bakery? What can we expect? What should we be on the lookout for?
You know, our whole thing right now is we've built Bakery, and over the last few years we've also added a couple of other arms to the business, right? We have a media agency called Ken. We have a content studio, content creation studio called Supernatural. These pieces, as our clients have needed more, and and I think as in general, the work starts to lean more towards indies, and that means that you got to be ready for it. And these brands that it's not like Coca-Cola is going to decide to go with an indie and decide to not need half the shit that they usually needed before, right? So now as an indie, you have to be indie plus to a degree. Like, okay, how do I now have tentacles that extend past that point? So we've been able to create kind of this infrastructure for ourselves that is working quite well. And they're very healthy businesses. We're not, we're not needing cash, let's say, right? Like that part's kind of answered for, which me saying that is like, whew, because it's like, it took a minute to do. It did not start off that way. It was very shaky ground, initially. So that's answered for. So now the next, thing for us is just craft, the quality of the work, the quality of the work.
It's the best spot to be in.
That is it. Like, that is the entire game for us.
Nice.
That is why we're going to Cannes, and like, I'm taking so many people and like, outfitting them with badges, and like, we're going into the basement, and we're going to all the jury panels, and we're going to all this, like, to the ceremonies, to also like waking up that, like, man, I want to be up there. I want to hear Juan Señor say Bakery. I want to hear, like, this is something, this fire is like what my main goal is for our agency right now. So
that's gotta be that's a badass spot to be in, where you have all the pieces now, everything, all the infrastructure is there, clients are there now. Now it's just time to get it going. And
well, now
that's so sick.
Well, yes, but also now we get to see if we were full of shit all this time, right?
Oh,
like, now it's like, well, if we can't do it, then it's like, oh, maybe we weren't meant to be.
Then you fix it.
Well, yeah, you try. You can try. Yeah. Then those are the things where I'm like, okay, I might have stumbled my way to where I am now in well enough now to see, okay, can I actually take this thing and make it, that other thing, make it something that, I said, hey, I would work with an Anselmo any day. Can I make something where an Anselmo would say, hey, I would work with Micky any day? See, like, that's kind of that seems like light years away for me right now, but I'm hoping, that's something that we can achieve.
You just got it.
The good news for me is that it doesn't just depend on me anymore, right?
No.
I have such great people. Like, we have creatives like Rodrigo Rothschild and Carrie Heckel, and like, incredible people that are like, honestly, they are firing at like an insane speed. I can't keep up with them. Like, they text me more than like anybody in my life right now at all hours of the day. Like, what about this? What about this? What about this? Like, they're on it,
That's
and
good.
they want it. Like, they want it. So, we have amazing people, and that just makes the job easier. So hopefully, if we do get there, right, I have no doubt that I'm probably the least amount of addition to whatever happened there, but I'm excited to be that little piece of addition to it. Mm-hmm.
Spoken like a great leader there, Micky. Episode is fantastic. How can people reach out to you if they have questions, they want to say what's up?
I'm on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And I do check my LinkedIn.
Nice.
So if you're not trying to sell me like a list, like a sales list or something like that or whatever, then I usually respond to folks that are hitting me up that are, cool normal people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you heard of the dead LinkedIn conspiracy? The dead internet conspiracy, and
No.
LinkedIn's a big part of it.
What's that?
Oh, you should look into it. It's like, it says that like the majority of people on the internet that you interact with are dead. She's nodding her head. She knows what this is about.
But they're dead?
There's a conspiracy theory that's like the majority aren't really alive, and it's like you're just talking to bots.
Oh,
bots.
Yeah.
No, but like everybody's a bot. Like it's like a whole, like simulation
us?
type thing. Well, obviously we're not bots, but
well, no, there's that there's that video game simulation thing. Like if we advance, you know that one.
The which one?
That we're in a video game one?
Oh, the simulation. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like
Okay, but the internet's full of bots.
Yeah, right. And not real people, and that's why. Yeah. So it's like
I probably,
if you go down that rabbit hole once, you'll see. It's like it sounds insane, and then you go down and you're like, it's sounding less insane.
Yeah.
And then it sounds sane, and then you're back out the other end, and you're like, no, it was insane. But you have a moment where you doubted everything.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like LinkedIn's doing a pretty good job of like verifying people. I don't know. You can't have fake accounts on LinkedIn now. Like,
I thought that was a joke.
No, it's.
Go check Bakery out. Like we have, I think, like 40 employees at least that don't work at Bakery. They're like out of like Niger or like yeah. They're all like,
they gotta fix that.
I would say so. That would be interesting for them to fix.
But it makes you look good. You got a lot of employees. But
sure, I guess. Yeah. It's a weird vibe, but. Anyway, yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. Anybody can hit me up there. Also, my email is just mickey@bakery.agency, so it's the easiest thing to remember. So, yeah, anybody can hit me up.
Golden, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I hope people reach out, and I wish you all the best, man.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.